Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack Nicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you have the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com. Follow us on Instagram at JustSayingNoGWJS for article and video updates. And don't forget to follow us on Spotify at Just Saying Football. Hit the bell. You know, we're always on 12 p.m. Eastern is when we drop Wednesdays, Fridays, and Mondays for those episodes. We're in week 10, man.
Yeah, we are. As we said in the Thursday show, we are now at the second half. Things are getting real. Fantasy, real life. Teams are struggling. Teams are thriving right now. Some teams at this point we did not expect to be winning. Some are losing.
Yep. Playoff pictures of Foreman.
Yeah, I was going to say it's we don't even know really who the front runners are for MVPs for the first seeds in certain playoffs, but it's definitely shaping up in these next few weeks.
Yeah, and it's it could be potentially decided a little bit more this week as we head into week 10. Let's jump right into our blowout game when the Jacksonville Jaguars make their way to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Currently 50.5 point over under here. 9.5 point spread to the Chiefs. Biggest spread of the weekend besides the Eagles and Washington game.
Yeah.
On Monday night, I'm locking in Kansas City. They played a tight game against the Titans last Sunday night, but I think that this is a game in which they can really dominate, take control. But I kind of like the Jags to cover the spread. Maybe keep it within 6.
Within 6. I like that. I was going to say to take the spread, so that I feel like is interesting because that is the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like at the end of the day, I agree, will win this game. They're at home. They're the better team. They definitely have the better quarterback, in my opinion. That's for a different day. The line at 50.5, I love that. I think this will be a high-scoring affair. I saw a lot of predictions like 30-20 or 35-25, things like that. I could definitely see it being higher than 50. But Kansas City, I will take them doing that spread because I think once they get going, teams like Jacksonville, even if how good they are at keeping themselves in these games, whether they win them or not, I think Kansas City can run away with this one.
Couldn't agree with you more on that one. That's our only blowout game of this week, so we're going to head right into our mech games. First one that we got on the docket, NFC North matchup when the Detroit Lions make their way to Chicago to take on the Bears. Bears currently favored in this one by -2.5, 48.5 point over in this one. Detroit, I saw you last week.
Yeah.
I called you out.
Yes, you did.
I said you were going to get the win, and what did you do? You beat the Packers. You dropped them to 3-6. Aiden Hutchinson, interception in the end zone. I loved it.
I just remember saying last week, I can't pick Detroit because I can't imagine a world where Aaron Rodgers drops 5 games straight, and we are now officially living in that world.
Oh, yeah.
But, man, Justin Fields last week, scary performance.
Oh, my God.
78 yards on the ground. It's just...
most ever by a quarterback, by the way. Set an NFL record.
How many times a week do I have to say I'm going to eat my words on Justin Fields? And once this guy gets receivers, it's going to be excellent. Detroit, no Jamal Williams this week. No power running, so your guy DeAndre Swift may have to step up.
Yeah, going to be a huge DeAndre Swift game, but despite that, I do like Chicago in this one. Just the way that Fields has been playing every single week, getting better and better. He's running the ball really well. He's throwing the ball efficiently. It's not a lot of passing yards.
Yeah.
But, he go out, he goes 15 for 19, 175, a touchdown, maybe 2. And then he'll throw another 90 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Then maybe Mont finds his way. And then this offense is now finding a groove around the run game. You hope for more passing. We'll see what they do this offseason. The $120 million they keep mentioning in the offseason to spend. Plus, they've gotten a few more draft capital. So let's see what they can do. But I like the Bears in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears. We talk about how Fields is, just the most sacked QBs, 33 sacks. That's the most in the NFL right now. A lot. Detroit, they have a solid defense. We saw it last week, but not good enough to contain him. I'm going to go with the Bears at home. No problem there.
I like that. Let's keep this moving. This is a MAC game. Could potentially be a good game. Just want to put that in a fair warning when the Cleveland Browns make their way to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Line currently right now, 40.5 point over under. Miami's currently favored by -3.5. I feel like that should be more like a -2.5 game because if Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, specifically Nick Chubb, run the ball really well and they keep this offense off the field, this Mike McDaniel's terrifying offense, this Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle-led offense that's really, really scary right now off the field, it could be a really close game, and Jacoby Brissett is moving the ball down the field pretty well.
He is doing good. I feel like he has been really stepping up for the fact that in the summer, he didn't know how many games he was going to play, and now at least he's 3-5. A lot of teams that have to switch in their quarterback situation, they don't always react well. Cleveland has. And I got to say, I think this is going to be a nice high-scoring game, kind of like we saw with Miami and Chicago last week. But, man, Tua is really impressing me as well. 15 touchdowns to 3 picks this year. I know he's missed a couple games.
It's great.
But it's excellent.
He's 6-0 when he starts and finishes the game. They are 6-0.
Yeah. And despite the defense giving up all those yards to field, like we said in the last game, I do like them this week at home. I think this presents a little bit easier of a matchup without a running quarterback to contain like that. Like last week, they just couldn't contain Fields.
They could not, and they just got Bradley Chubb, which is not what you want to see. So
yeah.
I think this is a game for the Dolphins to win for sure. I think the way that the Browns defense has played at times is a little questionable, and I feel like that could maybe work in favor for Tyreek Hill.
And they're coming off the bye, and I usually like teams coming off the bye, but I do not feel that great about them. Like they had that win on Monday night, they went into the bye. They've had a little too much time off for me to like that. Miami, they just came off a good shootout.
I get that. Well, we're going to move into a game I know you're going to love when the Houston Texans make their way to New York to take on the New York Giants. Line right now, 41 over under spread. Giants favored by -6.5, which I know Jack loves. I will take the Giants for sure in this one. Houston plays well. We'll keep the game close in the first half, but I think at the end of the day, Giants will take the W in the second half, and that's where they'll get their win.
Yeah, what perfect timing, just me talking crap about the Browns coming off the bye, but I got to say, I feel good about the Giants coming off the bye, man. That is one of the teams I feel good about. The 41 line scares me. It kind of tells me it's going to be like a 20-17 game, but the Giants have come out on the top in those possession games this year. But I got to tell you, one thing that scares me for the Giants defense this week is your guy, Dameon Pierce.
Oh, yeah. No, he's a huge my guy. I have him in my keeper fantasy league. Absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
He ran the ball really well last week. 27 runs or 139 yards. Didn't find the end zone in that one, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I do think that the Giants will clamp down on this. My biggest concern right now is for the Texans. They gave up a ton of yards to Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts and Kenneth Gainwell last time that they played, and they got Saquon Barkley in New York right now. I think it's going to be a huge game for Saquon. I like him for over 100 yards. And again, Giants W.
Yeah, I think that he can definitely get over 100 scrimmage yards. I think that you're right. This is a good matchup for him. The 1-6 Texans on the road in MetLife. I think the Giants should get this done. This is scary little trap game vibes to it, but I think that they pull through. Daniel, before the bye, was playing so incredibly well. I called him out saying, "Oh, you'll never be the guy who gets 3 touchdowns a game or 300 yards."
And now
he
he's
did that
getting
back to back, and he had a bye. Feeling good about them this week.
Yeah, got it like that. Moving on into our next smack game on the Denver Broncos make their way to Tennessee to face the Titans. 38.5 point over under here. Tennessee's favored by -3. Again, no Bradley Chubb for this Broncos team. They're coming off the bye, a thing Jack hates but loves as long as it's his team against Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like Tennessee in this one. They played really, really well against Kansas City. I actually thought they might pull out a win there towards the end, but the offense couldn't get going again. A little bit more from Malik Willis. Got to see. I'm assuming Ryan Tannehill probably be another game time decision. He doesn't practice this week, so keep an eye out for that. And even if they don't have him in for this one, I think Derrick Henry can carry them to a win.
Yeah, I mean, he carried 17 times, 115 and 2 last week. That is
so good.
That is gold. The crazy thing is, I believe, with Malik Willis, I believe he had 16 total attempts. Derrick Henry had 17 rushing attempts. So it's like, it's one of the only offenses where you really do have that guy in the backfield. I kind of think we talk about it with Cleveland, but I don't think that Denver can stop Derrick Henry. I think that Kansas City saw that last week. Tennessee's at home. Denver's really been struggling, and this is the lowest over-under of the week, and this could be a pretty bad slugfest. What do you think?
I think it's just going to be a gross game. I think it's going to be one of those games you're watching and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, you're like, punt. Please, thank God, is there another game on TV?
Yep, 8 yards. It's going to be like first down, punt, first down, punt.
That is
first
Denver,
down.
That is
punt,
the Denver
punt.
special of the 2022 season.
It's just going to be brutal on this one. So hopefully, I still hope that Tennessee gets the win. It's just
I do
been
like
hard.
Tennessee -3. I think that's very fair. I think Tennessee, the way they've been playing on defense, should be favored by a little more. So
yeah, a little bit disrespectful. Yeah, let's move this right along. The New Orleans Saints make their way to Pittsburgh to take the Steelers. 41.5 point over under here. New Orleans favored by -2.5 on this one. Steelers coming off another big loss. Struggled against Baltimore on Monday night. Steelers coming off a bye. Again, something Jack hates.
Yeah, no, and I hate to see that the Steelers are 2-6 more than I see them hating off the bye. 41.5 spread, not going to be such a sexy game.
Not
New
at
Orleans
all.
only favored by 2.5. It's kind of scary with New Orleans every week. I feel like they had that boom game, last week against the Cardinals, and they played the Ravens, and they struggled. How do you what New Orleans team do we get this week in Pittsburgh? That's the biggest question.
I think that Andy Dalton can move the ball, and we saw it a little bit on Monday night towards the end of the first half, and they had they kind of lost a little bit towards the end there. They'd have to settle for a field goal, but they were able to move the ball at times. I know they have Kamara and they have Olave. I like the Steelers. I just feel like this is one of those trap games for pardon me, I burped, for the Saints right now, and with that spread, that -2.5, it's just a little bit uncomfortable for me. Even Vegas doesn't really know. There's no Claypool in this one, so the logic would be maybe the Steelers offense takes another step back. But we've seen a few times that when these big trades happen, it ends up really helping out.
Maybe Deontay Johnson finally goes back to getting 15 targets a game, and that's good for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and they had the bye week. There's time for this offense to maybe adjust, spend some time together, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe Pat Freiermuth finally gets involved. We love him. But I'm also thinking with New Orleans, I saw them play the Ravens on Monday night, and I'm like, oh gosh, I still have no idea how, even if they become successful down the line, they're going to be a team that destroys other teams. And Pittsburgh should be an easy matchup. I am gonna take New Orleans only with that 2.5 spread. It's very close to me. Like you said, I think this could be a very slight victory. I see this being one of those games where one of them goes for a 2-point conversion and winds up being up by 1 or 2 at the end. So I'm going to go with New Orleans on the road. Kamara versus Najee Harris, very interesting running back matchup in this one as well. But man, I think that New Orleans needs to get creative officially with no Michael Thomas for the rest of the season. I kind of see a big game for Chris Olave. So I will go with the Saints on that one.
All right, I like that. Let's move this into our worst game of the week.
By a mile. You would have thought Denver and Tennessee was going to really break that one.
But the Indianapolis Colts, making their way to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, finds a way to make that much worse. The 41.5 went over under here. Vegas somehow saved by -6.5, but we've seen 3 times this year that you could have a 17-point lead, and that does not matter.
The fact that the Raiders were leading in category of most blown 17-point leads is not the category we thought they were going to be leading in. We were kind of hoping that they would be the ones that were really going to pose a threat in the AFC West. They were
winning by 17 points every single game with Devontae Adams.
And you have the weapons. We thought you had the coaching. Josh McDaniels, you have yet to prove us right, man. What is going on?
They let go of their 4th first-round pick in Jonathan Abram on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And, I mean...
Josh Jacobs is the only guy they've drafted that they have left, and they've had years where they've had multiple.
Do they release Farrell?
Farrell's gone.
Oh, it's right. He's gone. Oh no!
Everybody, but Jacobs now is there, and you got to ask, which team is in worse turmoil? The Colts. You fire Frank Reich, who we say week by week is one of our favorite coaches to watch, and then you get Sam Ellinger get sacked last week for 9 times, and then you hire Jeff Saturday, who we haven't seen on a football field since he did that Pro Bowl snap to Peyton Manning in 2013.
Now, Jack, I think it's worth noting what you said to me off before we got into this camera. Yeah, please tell the people.
Yeah, no, I said what Ian Rappaport mentioned yesterday was very well said. The fact that Jeff Saturday is able to be hired off the streets when this guy hasn't coached in 2 years, and he coached for a losing record high school in Georgia. This guy has not coached. He has not done any college experience. He has not done any pro experience. There are thousands of coaches all over the nation waiting to get hired and working their ass off to get in these positions. And especially with all the conflicts in the offseason with the Rooney Rule, there are so many minority coaches being disregarded in this process, especially from the Colts, who have faced these issues and done this. They need to do better in general with the league, but Jim Irsay as well. That press conference yesterday, if you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's basically like it was like he had his PR team ready and then they didn't show up and he did the press conference anyway with things that just pop into his 7-year-old dude's head. Crazy stuff. Not disrespecting that, but I'm just saying I'm disrespecting the fact that the system of many coaches who are qualified coaches who deserve a chance to coach of any background, we see coaches all the time be successful with any background. This should not be something that holds people back now. And you got Jeff Saturday coming off the streets. It's just an illogical move to me.
Yeah,
and I'll pick the Raiders honestly because of how much I hate the Colts now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it was a BS move that what Jim Irsay decided to do with the team. Like you're saying, they just kind of threw the Rooney Rule to the side. They didn't even seem to really care for any experience when it came to coaching. Yes, he's a former player, a great player, albeit in a Colts great. I think he's a Colts Hall of Famer, and I get that relationship and that kind of stuff. But you're absolutely right.
You don't even look in house. You got 12 staff. I'm not to cut you up. They got 12 staff members. They got all these people that they could hire from other teams. I just felt it so disappointing. It's like so gut wrenching.
Yeah, it's just not okay. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be the Raiders game. Absolutely. I just That's a little bit unacceptable. And when you're firing your coach midway through the year, it's always tough to come back from that. We've seen a few coaches bounce back, like Steve Wilkes, that kind of stuff when Matt Rule got fired. But
this guy got hired yesterday. Does he even have the playbook?
Yeah, like what's happening?
You know what I'm saying?
Is he ready for this? Like, who's calling the plays? Is he just out there to be a leader? Like, what's happening?
The move is like so illogical to me. I don't even know, man.
Who knows? Honestly, who knows?
The Colts are doomed because they did this. Not only for the illogical moral sense of what they've done, but they have decimated their team by not having an actual coach the team.
Yeah, seeing
an NFL team.
Watching what they're going to do in the offseason is going to be really interesting. And we're just going to keep moving this right along, honestly, because the Colts don't deserve any more time. When the Dallas Cowboys are going to take on the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, 43.5 point over under here. Dallas currently favored by -5. This is a 4:25 Eastern time game. This is the Mike McCarthy reunion in Lambeau. Seeing the fans, him and Rodgers won a Super Bowl together.
Yeah.
I'm going Cowboys off the rip because of all the injuries to the Packers that we saw last week.
The injuries, man.
Tanyan was injured. Runyon was injured. Aaron Jones was seeing the boot. Rashawn Gary's out for the year with a torn ACL. Romeo Doubs was seeing the boot. He's out indefinitely with a high ankle sprain. It's just not what you wanted to see for them. And look, I'm a happy camper with where the Packers are sitting right now in the division. Like I said in our Thursday Night Football, 3-6. Vikings are 7-1. This is great for us. I just don't think this is the Packers team of old. I think the Cowboys are playing great football. That defense is playing fantastic. Micah Parsons playing his way to a Defensive Player of the Year trophy currently. We got Dak back. I think they still are probably hoping to get Zeke back. Might not be this week, but Dak back really boosts this offense. Dalton Schultz is happy that he's back. CeeDee Lamb is happy he's back. This offense can score more points. Cooper Rush is a game manager. Dak is a game changer, I think, a little bit.
That's a great way to put it for me. Dak, I think, is at that point where he is fully back now. He's looking good. We saw Dallas, against Chicago a couple weeks ago, just blow them out. I think that's like such an important thing to note is just like you said, it's just such a different level of play. And they were still playing really well under Cooper Rush.
Yep.
But it really, for me, I still think Tony Pollard is like a top 15 running back in the NFL right now, even though he's their backup there.
Dog.
When he's in, exactly. Dog. Tony Pollard, dog. And they have stuck with him and given him like 20 carries a game. Like they trust him.
Yeah, it's helped out Zeke in turn. He runs more efficiently when Pollard's been out there eating some of the carries as well. And Zeke is not the same running back that he was when he came into this league, but they're finding a way, I think, to sort of work them both, albeit I do think that Pollard provides a little bit more of that extra
But Dallas
stuff.
by 5, I do like them because, like you said, their defense really has been containing quarterbacks well. Aaron Rodgers losing weapons around him is not good for where they're at. It's very unfortunate, because they're usually a winning team, usually a top team in the NFC. But this year, Dallas does look better than we had predicted, and I think they continue that this week.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. All right, let's move this along into our good games of the week, and our first one is at 4:25 p.m. as well. The Arizona Cardinals make their way to Los Angeles to take on the Rams in an NFC West showdown. 43.5 point over-under on this one. Rams are favored by -3. Kyler, 0-2 since Modern Warfare has released. It is a solid game. I do recommend taking a look at it if no one has. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Yeah. Call of Duty, not a sponsor, but
not a sponsor.
Wants a sponsor.
I just want a free game. It's $70 now. Not a sponsor. go by the game.
But Kyler's going against the Rams, who we saw have step up for the first 4 in 3.5 quarters last week until they gave up that last second touchdown to Cade Otton with the Bucs. But man, both these teams 3-6 Cardinals, 3-5 Rams. Like you said, not what we had expected.
Not at all.
How do you feel about the Cardinals right now?
I'm worried.
Okay.
The loss of Chandler Jones is evidence. They don't have the same pass rush of old. The secondary is not the same right now. I think Cliff Kingsbury is a little bit on the hot seat, truthfully. If 4 years right now, he's 27-30-1 record with a quarterback that he wanted in Kyler Murray. They have one playoff appearance during that in which they lost to the Rams last season, 34-11. And Kyler threw 2 interceptions, had no touchdowns. And I'm not blaming it all on Kyler. I just don't think that this is a coaching and head and quarterback combination that's working. I do think that he's a franchise guy. I think he has what you want from a player. He has the arm strength. He has the ability to move around the pocket. He can run the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pardon me. He has all the things that you want.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is now working with the offense. We saw him and DeAndre Hopkins yelling at each other on the sideline. Robbie Anderson, since being there for 3 games, 7 targets, 1 reception, -3 yards. Like, I don't know what's happening.
He literally has negative yards since wanting to go to a better team. And obviously, I feel like it looks different on paper if you have Hopkins, Brown, and Anderson all playing at the same time. But in reality, it's been very disappointing. On the other hand, you got DeAndre Hopkins playing great, 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games, almost 300 yards, 298 yards to be exact, 11.5 per catch. I mean,
so good.
It's not like you're saying. It's not like they don't have these good players. It's just the offensive scheme is kind of bad.
Maybe the air raid offense just isn't working in the NFL for a reason.
Maybe, and maybe they make us eat our words and they go off for 30 points this week. But I kind of doubt it.
I'm going with the Rams in this one. I just don't know what we're gonna get. I think DeAndre Hopkins finds the end zone, but Jalen Ramsey and him always have a great little battle going on.
That's a great point.
They've had since Houston and Jacksonville, so that's just something to watch. I think that Hop will find the end zone, but held under 75 yards this week, I think is a high possibility under Ramsey, and that 1 touchdown will come on the one time where Ramsey isn't on him.
Yeah, Ramsey, I mean, last week, the one thing that interests me about Arizona is that the last time that these teams played in week 3, that was the only time Cooper Kupp didn't have 5 catches, and he has had 7+ catches in every other game this season. So, for me, Arizona definitely does something to kind of hinder this matchup, but I am going to go with the Rams as well by 3. I do think that if they win this, it's by a touchdown. I do think that the defense steps up, and it's like you said, it's the Cardinals are just kind of not. You're worried about them.
These teams are just like lukewarm. It's like the best way to describe them. Let's move this along in our good games. When we head to Munich, this is a 9:30 a.m. game. Our first ever, not our first ever, the NFL's first ever game in Germany. And before we tell you who it is, you should already probably know. But every game internationally has been decided by 1 possession. Something important to note, because the Seattle Seahawks are making their way to Tampa Bay and Munich to face the Buccaneers. 44.5 point over under on this one. Tampa Bay favored by -2.5. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Man, this is going to be interesting. Remember to set those lineups early on Sunday. This will be the last. If I'm not mistaken, the last international game. 2 in London, 1 Mexico City, and now this one here.
The Mexico City one's coming up.
Oh, the Mexico City one's coming up. Yes, I very very good point. So this is going to be interesting, like you said. I think this could be a 1 possession game. The 2.5 spread reflects that. I do like Seattle. Last week after Geno threw that pick 6, I was a little nervous. It was not the best throw, but he had about 80% completion after the end.
Killed it afterwards. Bounced back.
Again, he's just been playing great. Right now, he's still leading the league, 73. That's definitely the thing that we say every week. But if he had worse completion, we would say that he had worse completion. And what are you thinking about this Tampa Bay coming off of a comeback victory, like we said with the Rams? Seattle coming off of winning.
Last 2 minutes of that game in Tampa Bay was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I was watching that game, and I'm watching them. It's 4th and goal. They don't get the touchdown. I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
it's over. Rams kind of moved the ball for like a second and they just stall out. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there's like a little bit of time. And I think it was 37 seconds left on the clock. Tom Brady gets the ball. He's 60 yards down the field. He marches down in something like 16 seconds.
It was like 9 seconds once they scored.
He was all the way down on like the 12 already. And you were like, what the?
I literally was on the phone. I was literally standing next to somebody on Sunday and I was like, oh yeah, as long as like the Rams win, I'll hit this like 4-leg game pick. I was very excited. And I go, look, let me check it out. How are the Rams doing? It's like
Tom Brady
13-9. And then he's like, no, it's a 16-13. I'm like, oh, jeez, 10 seconds. But that's Tom Brady.
That's Tom Brady. But despite that, I'm going to go Seattle with you. I totally agree. I like them in this one. The Tampa Bay offense not the same. Leonard Fournette hasn't rushed for more than 25 yards, nor seen more than 9 carries since their Week 6 loss to the Steelers. That's
Damn.
So weird. Like, I don't know why that's a stat for them, but it is, and they're just not. I don't know. They're just not the same team. I mean, I guess Todd Bowles was right. If you were expecting this to be the same Super Bowl team, you are wrong because it is clear that they are not, and the record is evident of that. They're 4-5.
And you got Ken Walker, who's basically acts like he's getting 200 yards every game.
Potential offensive rookie of the year candidate if Garrett Wilson doesn't slow down.
I was gonna say he's getting up there. Him and Garrett definitely. I know Ken Walker started late, but the fact that he's picking up all these yards at the end of the year, you're gonna be like, oh damn. The Bucs offense to me just isn't as impressive as Seattle's. Seattle's been able to overcome a lot of different defenses this year and score. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett playing really well. They have a great run game, better than Tampa's. Like Sean always says, a team with a good run game, you manage the clock, you get the possessions, keep that game close, and if you are kind of losing towards the end, use that run game to win it. And, I think they do that here. I think that they're a good underdog this week. But it's very interesting. I think it will be a very tight, stressful game down to the line.
Absolutely, but I don't know why. I just feel like Pete Carroll's going to surprise. You know what I mean?
Pete
Carroll. Still OG Pete.
He's just still around.
He's still around. He's still kicking it. I love it. Let's move this into our games of the week because your boy Sean himself is super hyped because his Minnesota Vikings are making their way to Buffalo to take on the Bills. 40.5 point over under on this one. Buffalo's favored by -6.
Buffalo in Buffalo. Minnesota said,
I'm so excited.
Could there be another place colder to play? And Buffalo said, yeah.
Hold my beer.
Come hang out with us.
Right.
And Josh Allen, obviously, biggest thing this week, dealing with a little bit of an elbow injury. If he's in, how are you feeling? If he's out, how are you feeling?
I don't like it either way. This is why if he's in, it's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
All right, and he in his rookie season he jumped over Anthony Barr, and that was like the whole big thing, and he did beat us. And then
still scarred by that, right?
Oh yeah. And then if he's not in, it's Case Keenum. And for those of you who might not know, Case Keenum was the Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs is in Buffalo. This is the first time Diggs is going to get to play against his former team. That being said, the head coach is gone. The GM, a lot of changes have happened since, but you still can't help but get the feeling that he'll be playing.
Everything over on Diggs this weekend: catches, yards, touchdowns, everything.
You know he's going to be going off. They did have a huge loss last week.
Yeah.
The Bills, and I do expect them to want to bounce back, especially with that home crowd going to be there. They just lost to the Jets, which I know that they're disappointed about. And this is arguably the best wide receiver matchup of the entire weekend. Because it's Diggs versus JJ. Diggs currently has 60 receptions, 857 yards, 7 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, pretty similar stat line here. 59 receptions, 867 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I hope that they both find the end zone this weekend.
I think that they definitely do. Because JJ, as many people know, like Sean said, was the draft pick that they got in exchange for Diggs. They were like, all right, we'll get another electric wide receiver anyway. There is one weird reality where the Vikings don't get that pick, but they still have both of them. That would be insane.
That'd been great.
But yeah, no, great receiver matchup. I'm gonna ride with your boys this weekend against the Buffalo 6 spread, and I'm gonna go with the Vikings money line. I think that they going in and winning this game would be unbelievable. Now, as I say that, I'm also like, wow, if Josh Allen is playing, don't listen to a word I say because if he's playing, he's going to be at home, and this would be that game. Despite the Vikings being 7-1, this would be the game that you wouldn't be shocked because the Bills are who they are this year.
Yeah, I'm going with Buffalo. I'm a little bit skeptical of the Vikings. That Washington game, we struggled against Jonathan Allen, and now we got to deal with Von Miller. I also think that we give up a ton of yards to the receivers sometime. Last week, though, we did get a referee get right in our way as we were trying to get an interception.
That has to be reviewed, man.
That should be reviewed. There should be some sort of repercussion.
That
was literally he just took out our defender.
He bodied us.
Just took out Cameron Bynum.
No pads on. I mean, I respect it, but you kind of messed up the game.
It changed momentum. But yeah, I just think that we've been giving up a lot of yards. You saw DeAndre Hopkins with the one-handed reception a few weeks ago. We saw the big play last week. I think that the Vikings team, I can't remember who said it, they're winning, but they're not winning convincingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're winning these
off camera, and it hits so hard right now.
they're winning these one possession games, and that's great. It's awesome. They had 14 one possession games last year, of which I think they only won 6, no more than 6. This year they've had 7 one possession games, and they've won all 7.
Yeah.
No, my bad. 6. The Packers game
7.
was not, and they had 6 one possession games. They won all 6, so they're already tied for last season. But they're clearly doing much better in that respect. But I'm a little bit worried just about them. It's going to be a huge test for them. If they win this game, it does change how people I think look at the Bills and look at the Vikings. And this is going to be the only time this has ever come out of my mouth. I'm for once actually enjoying Kirk Cousins. I like the little off-field dancing, and I like the ice on the veins. That's fun.
Okay, now we got. This is what happens when the Vikings are good. Sean's like, I like people now. You know what I'm saying? No, because when they're losing, it is on him. Well, now that they're winning, it's like, all right, we gotta love this guy. How do you know?
He's not playing great. 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not even 2,000 yards yet. It's 1,999. I'm actually he's not at 2,000.
That's close.
But what I like is I like the younger coach. Supposedly under Mike Zimmer, there was a sense of fear amongst the players, and he operated with fear. And you can see in the videos, everyone's happy. Everyone's got their phones out. They got some beers and cups. Everyone's chilling.
They were not
dancing.
doing what they're doing last year and winning like this. Man.
And this is not. You've never seen Kirk like this in all of his time.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just an attitude shift in Minnesota, and so I'm enjoying that attitude shift.
And the defense for me, I want to add that before we move on to is a huge factor here. Zadarius Smith. 8.5 sacks. I don't know Daniil's off the top of my head, but Sean is getting close to his call of
Daniil
5.5 between.
Daniil 5. 13.5. We got a second half of the season. We can get 13.5 more.
So that's not too bad. I mean, you got to get 11.5. It's not too bad. I was saying
we can do it.
25. But I want to say, him 8.5 sacks, Harry the Hitman getting 4 interceptions on the year.
Love it.
If they can create turnovers, create pressure, do what the Jets did last week, that's the key to beating Buffalo.
Absolutely. All right, let's move into our last game of the week. Los Angeles Chargers make their way to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. This was flexed to the Sunday Night Football game, and for good reasons. Should be a good game.
Yep.
46.5 point over-under. San Francisco favored by -7. Chargers have struggled a little bit offensively without Keenan Allen. Got a huge win last week, including a monster forced fumble, and fumble recovery by Khalil Mack, where he ripped it out of Drake London's hands.
Yeah, he did not stop that run. I sent that to
everyone. Everyone needed to see it.
And everyone's like, he's just not going down. I'm like, yeah, it's Khalil Mack. The great thing is the 49ers coming off the bye. They're going to have a little bit of rest there for Christian McCaffrey, to learn the offense. He was just traded for right before the deadline in Week 9. This is going to be a very good defensive matchup, I feel like, for the San Francisco 49ers being at home, being favored by 7 right now. And the Chargers, like you mentioned, they are a little bit injured.
They are a little bit injured, but for some reason I like them in this game. The 49ers have been all over the place.
Yeah.
Keep burping this
to say the least.
I'm so sorry. I had so much seltzer water today. It's coming back right now as we're recording this, but they've just been so back and forth right now, and I think if they're able to get ample pressure on Jimmy G, create some turnovers, this offense will kind of shift all of a sudden.
Okay.
When there's pressure in front of Jimmy G, he starts to fold a little bit more. They got some good news, though, for them. Elijah Mitchell is returning back from the IR. Azeez Al-Shaair also returning, and Colton McVitz. Sorry for mispronouncing. Is also returning. That opens up the 21-day window to return. That's huge news for San Francisco. They always seem to be injury plagued. You're right. They do have Christian McCaffrey. That's wonderful. That's great. He is finding rhythm here. I don't know. I just feel like There has to be a sneaky game of the week. Why not this one?
Yeah, I like that take. The Chargers since 2002 are 5-0 versus San Francisco 49ers. They have a lot. San Francisco, for me, it's the defensive advantage. The Chargers, right now, they're allowing about 145 yards on the ground, which is third worst. Definitely don't want to come in with that position against the Kyle Shanahan offense. So I will say that for the first time since 2002 that the 49ers do beat the Chargers.
I like that.
At home, like you said, Jimmy G, he is the key to not turning the ball over to get everything going. But I did like what we saw a couple weeks ago for when they had McCaffrey getting involved on all levels. I think that's great for Jimmy to have, a receiving back, having Debo out there. I do like the Chargers defense as well, but the one tough thing is that the Chargers run offense with Austin Eckler. It shocked me to see that they only produce about 89 yards a game themselves. I feel like that is just obviously it's like correlating with the fact that they don't have any receivers and
I agree.
So much pressure on him.
I mean, Williams,
but it's
and
tough.
Allen.
It's tough. I mean, with Nick Bosa, I feel like that could all be a
yeah. I think it's gonna be really interesting. And this one is like they have a 46.5 spread on this one.
Yeah,
I'm be curious if that can hit the over. Because when the 49ers do start rolling, they start rolling.
Yeah.
And they can easily. When this offense does get going, like Debo's fully healthy, and I imagine once Christian McCaffrey really finds his way in this offense, there's no reason why this offense can't put up 30 plus
I just can't
points.
believe Debo, CMC, and Kittle are all
a little bit unfair. One more thing before we depart. Chargers are 3-1 on the road, winning most of their games away, not at home this season. So just something to point out.
This one could go either way. I'm happy we're opposing this one because there are two very big sides of this coin.
Yeah, good one to oppose for sure. But that's all the time that we have. Thank you for listening and for tuning in. Stay tuned for our Monday Football episode coming out.
Yeah, enjoyed that Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed this Sunday Super Flex. Enjoy the whole Sunday slate of games. Going to be a couple of great ones in there. Division matchup. Always remember to check us out 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 o'clock on YouTube, on Spotify, both Just Saying Football. Check us out, justsayingfootball.com and Just Saying with no G, WJS on Instagram for all your article video updates so that we can update you on all of our articles and videos. And thank you guys for checking us out.
Enjoy.